Hi everyone, this is Mona again from Back Pain Movement Makers. Today is day 31 in our 365 days free challenge where we go live every single day. We have done that for 30 days, 31 days in a row. And no, 32 because we had the introduction as well. Well, this free challenge, we talk about healing back pain for good and also living a fulfilled life by using 10 daily holistic healing habits. And today we are on the fifth daily holistic healing habit. It's all about being in contact with our true self or the highest consciousness every day, and preferably throughout the day as well. Well, today, the subject for today is what if there is another way to look upon ourselves and the world? And there is another way. We don't have to believe everything that is said in the news. We don't have to always be in fear. We don't have to live in the past or in the future. Our future is not equal to our past. And we have to work on these beliefs. We have to have faith that we could either heal for good or at least be able to be so healed or work with our minds, that we don't suffer when we live on a day-to-day basis. Of course, if we experience pain, it is even harder. I know that for sure. Even though I have been very blessed to not be in so much pain, but I've seen my husband suffer for years. And he had a surgery. After 4.5 years, they realized that he has been mistreated by the doctors. They thought that they said at least that his pain center, or what they were referred to, that it was fixed on pain that he didn't have anymore. So they treated him like he was an imbecile. Then he went to the doctors for another reason, and he said, I don't really believe in this. May I have another chance to get a second opinion? And they said, of course. And after they had got an x-ray so they could see the bones in the body, they realized that, first of all, the vertebrae had come loose, so the nerves was squashed in between, and it hurt like hell, of course. But that was not his original injury. That was one of the physical therapists that worked with him that ordered him to do a sit-up, and he said, I can't. And then they said, well, I'll hold your legs and you'll do it anyway. And then suddenly it went off like a gunshot and he could move. But that was the result, that the vertebrae could now squeeze the nerves, or I'm not very good at this language. So of course, that was something that he was not having problems with from the beginning, but that was the result. And also they found pieces from the vertebrae loose, and they, of course, was hurting the nerves as well. But even though he had surgery, he was not very good in his back, because then they said they put screws and metal pieces in to his spine, and they said now that when the bones had healed, they said that the screws and the metal kind of pieces, I have no idea how to describe that, uh, they had put in the vertebrae to hold it in place. They said that now that was irritating the nerves. But we said, well, we don't care about that anymore, because they couldn't guarantee that it would become even better. It could be even worse. So we said, no, we won't do that, because it could be even worse. And well, then when we discovered some exercises that he could do, even though he was very immovable and very stiff, it began to be a little bit better. And then I had problems with my joints and beginning to have pain. So I started, my mother has rheumatism, and I started to study food, and what food does, and what food not to eat, and so on, if you're having problem with the pain in the joints. And then I realized that there are a lot of food that you should avoid to not get inflammation in the body. So when Thomas and I started eating better, and then Thomas started eating better as well. And suddenly he was a lot better too, not just me with the pain in my joints. He started to have less pain in his back as well. And then one thing led to another, and then when I was able to become a trans channel, when my dream came true, and I could begin to get real answers for what our problem was, the original problem, and how to deal with that. The 10 daily holistic healing habits came up when I started to really ask for that. And there is another way. We have to stop when we have pain. We have to stop, and instead of focusing on that we are victims, we have to begin to think that we are creators of our own reality, because we really are. If we believe something completely, that is the way we will look upon ourselves from that perspective, and also on the world. If we think that something could really threaten our existence, then that is the fear that thought will seem so real. And if we believe that the pain has to become worse, because it always does, it begins in small proportion, and then it will increase, just because, or just because we are getting older, or whatever reason we believe that is what we are looking for. And as we talked about the reticular activating system, uh, that what we talk about, what we think about a lot, and what we entertain to give, um, when we focus on things, what we give energy to, and so on, we will get more of that. So we have to begin to shift the way we look upon ourselves, because when we change, the world, when we change the way we look at on ourselves, the look the way we look at the world will change too. I thought that this was kind of, well, it could be true, but I didn't really believe it. I didn't. Until now, I have worked for several years with more spiritual material. And I have found that exactly is the truth. Now, when I have begun to realize that the highest consciousness, the way the highest consciousness once created me, I cannot do anything to threaten that, and no one else either. This body is not who I really am. I'm living in this body right now, but this is not really who I am. I am a spiritual being living and having a human experience right now. And when I begin to believe more and more of that I cannot do anything, nor anyone else, about the original me, and that I'm eternal. My body will die, of course, but not me. Then my fear goes away. And when my fear goes away, I can begin to enjoy life to the fullest. And what I've also noticed is that when I am safe, when I feel secure, when I feel good about myself, and when I feel like someone is taking care of me, then of course my fear goes down. And what happens then? The stress hormone production goes down. And what happens then? I feel better. And what happens then? The pain, both the emotional, physical, and psychological, becomes so much better in that way that there aren't many things that I worry about right now. Of course, I could lose myself completely in the egoic mind too, still. But I realize that now I'm controlled by the egoic mind, and I have my methods now to take me away from that, and to have kind of toolbox to work with this, with, excuse me, with working on changing our beliefs about what we are, and that there are no sins. The highest consciousness has given us a free will, and it's holy. And the whole point with the free will is to discover, well, that was not very good, but this was very good. To find out who we are, points to relate to, and also realize that the agenda before I went here in this life form was already set up by me and my guides and teachers. And because there were things that I, in the soul dimension, or what you call it, have decided, well, these are the things that I would like to work on through this life experience. And they are not perfectly fixed. And of course, I could live my life, but there was a longing, not to be longing, a longing before I came here to learn special things. And we could always choose again, of course. But the most important thing here is that we have to begin to shift our identity from feeling like victims to feeling like we are in control of our healing process and creating a fulfilled life, a life where we feel fulfilled every day. And we could still do that. We could still do that even though we experience back pain. It will be a challenge, of course. Why did we end up having pain at all? And before Christmas, we were out we have a tradition in Sweden where we go out and eat smorgasbord just before Christmas, and we also eat that kind of food on Christmas Eve as well. And this we go to a special kind of luxury restaurant slash hotel, and there I thought, well, once a year I will kind of cheat with the food intake. So I ate dairy. It took 3 days. 3 days. Then I could barely walk, and I could not move my arms or hands or fingers or thumbs without it hurt like, well, someplace that is in the fairy tales where they say it's very, very hot. So I know, but I know what it feels like to have pain, that it's really, really, really frustrating, and it's really challenging to not be focusing on that pain. So I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I have realized that food for me, it's very important. It's really, really important, because if I eat dairy, I wouldn't be able to go without medications. My mom, she takes kind of cancer medicine and also shots every fortnight. And she has done that for 20 years or something because of her rheumatism. And I'm out of medication, and I'm soon to be 50, and I'm really proud of that. So there are ways. If there is a problem, there, of course, there is also a solution out there. But we have to shift, instead of being victims, to being the ones that are in control. That does not mean that we don't have to have surgery. Sometimes that is a must. Um, and and of course, we need to have painkillers sometimes as well. But we need to feel that we are in control of the process. We need to be able to question, is this really working? Uh, what can I do except for just trying to have surgery and taking painkillers and things like that? What other sources are there out there? Are there out there in the world that could help me in some way or another? And the 10 daily holistic healing habits, they are they are both wide and deep. So why don't you give it a try? Just try for a couple of weeks. I would say, why don't you try to implement some of these daily holistic healing habits and see what they do for you and your healing process? That is my recommendation. But I would also choose to begin to challenge this identity thing. If you believe that you are a person with back pain, then that is the way you're going to present yourself to the world. I am a back pain person. Well, you're not. You experience back pain, but back pain person, no. And you're not a victim either. You could choose. You could consciously choose to not be panicking about this in the back pain, and you could begin to try to live in the moment and look for solutions and take steps, baby steps every day and throughout the day, so you empower yourself. So being in contact with your true self or the highest consciousness is essential in the healing process, because you have to be the one who feels in charge. If you're not, then you will feel like a victim. And if you feel like a victim, well, then you won't believe that you are the one who could heal yourself. You will look for the solution out there. Of course, there are things out there that could help you, but still you have to be the one who is in control, and then evaluate, is this working for me right now? Because some of us, we have so strong limiting beliefs that it will almost be impossible for anything to shift the way we look upon ourselves, our pain, and the world. And that is a lesson as well. But if we are able to be in contact with our true self and the highest consciousness on a daily basis, and at least 3 times a day, you will begin to shift just a little bit. And that will make a huge difference. You won't just wake up one day and you're healed if you don't believe that is possible. But you could work on this and feel like, well, I'm doing something now, today. Today, I'm doing 10 things, for example, if you choose to implement the 10 daily holistic healing habits. And if you believe that since you're doing 10 things every day to help you to heal, you could begin to believe it more and more and more. And it will become a positive cycle instead of the negative one, with the pain and the suffering and the bad thoughts and the victimizing of ourselves, and so on. Okay, that's everything for today. I think I hope I got through. Well, tomorrow I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to talk about, but the highest consciousness has well, I'm not nervous at all about that, because I will channel the highest consciousness if they don't tell me before that. Okay, so it will be surprise tomorrow. Have a lovely day, morning, evening, night, wherever you are. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow again. Bye.